and welcome to week 10. I'm going to embed the video, I hope this week. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it last week because the file size was too big for the video. So I'm really sorry because it would make it easier for you. So this week what I've done instead is to, I've changed the video file size. So hopefully this week I'll be able to embed it for you. So for this week we're going to work on, so I want you to, just to be clear, you're supposed to watch the video and the PowerPoint at the same time. This week hopefully the video will be embedded and I will be able to upload it to the GNUE site. Regarding the GNUE site, some students said that they have tried to download from the site and they can't. So if you have any issues, please email me, or what I do, because I also have a hard time getting access to the site, is to wait 10 minutes and try again, wait 10 minutes and try again, and basically just keep going. So I'm moving into the PowerPoint and I'm going to move slide by slide in case I am unable to embed the video again. Please make sure to watch the PowerPoints all the way through. They're only about an hour long, so it should be, you should manage to get through it okay. If you start to get tired, pause the video, get a drink of cold water, come back and keep watching it. If you're finding it difficult, then you maybe should watch it with a classmate or two, and then you can talk about it as the PowerPoint progresses. Moving on to slide number 2, I want first to talk about the coronavirus and to remind you to still please be careful. Do try to stay at home as much as possible, and if you do go out or if you're about, make sure to wear your mask and wash your hands with warm water and soap wherever you go. Also, please remember that it's really good for you to help your family, because these days, lots of people are feeling a little bit stressed, so do your best to help each other. Also, if you or any family is feeling stressed, a really simple but good way to decrease your stress is to go for a walk outside where there's green trees or plants around you. I read a study that says if you are exposed to, a green area, you're outside with trees and plants, for 10 minutes your stress levels decrease by 50%. So if you notice anyone's feeling a little bit stressed, why don't you go for a walk together? Moving on now to slide number 3, we're going to talk first about your week 8 assignments, because I have some comments to make. So the next 5 slides are going to be comments about your week 8 assignments. The first and foremost comment I want to make is that I would like you please to write your name, student number, and major on every single assignment on the first page, please. It's not enough for you to write your name on when you're uploading the file, because I can't always read the entire file, so please make sure and write your name actually on the assignment. Please do that because it's, as you maybe, I assume, are aware, the GNUE site is not always dependable, so it throws me off, and I still have the files, but then I have no access to which student gave me those files. So please write your name in English, of course. Anything we do in this course you should be doing in English. Your student number and your major on every assignment on the first page of the typed assignment page sheets. Now, the other thing I wanted to tell you about is for the week 8 updated questions, for the answers, I can't upload the answers anywhere on the GNUE site. So what I've done instead is I have added them to the end of this PowerPoint. Okay? So what we're going to look at is some moving on to slide number 4. So these are general mistakes that people made, so that's why I chose the baby picture with the whoops. Moving on to slide number 4, Again, I'm still talking about the week 8 assignments. So another point that I'm noticing is students are whipping through this. I mean, I can tell that there is almost no time spent on your assignments. So I'll ask you why you pay for your courses if you aren't going to do the work. You know, you should be working and trying your best to improve and do a good job. You're paying for it. Your family's paying for this, so do your best. Now, I've said over and over again, but nobody's listening. I'm not sure why. But please, 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 I don't need the questions. Just give me the answers. Especially if you've got a sheet like this, just highlight it and delete it, and then you can just give me the answers. But the answers, of course, should be full sentences. For example, I get answers like lives in Toronto. Lives in Toronto is not a full sentence. So remember that what you want to do in the future is become a teacher, and one of the subjects you will be teaching will be English. So this is why I'm trying to encourage you to use full sentences, because this will help you get a job as a teacher, number one. That's one of our primary focuses. And number two is that you will help your future students. If you speak in full sentences, they will copy you, and they will also follow your example and speak in full sentences. Next, if you do use short answers, if you continue to use short answers, which are not full sentence answers, I will take points. Again, I'll take -5 per section of short answers. I also have given you some short answers here, which I took from some assignments. 1, Harold Monroe was an answer. Number 2, I got never. Number 3, too fat. These are not sentences, and they don't explain what you're talking about. So please take the time, spend some time doing your homework. Our assignments should take you 3 hours in total. So please, you don't have to do it at the last minute, but try to slowly progress through it instead of trying to whip through it and get it done as quickly as possible. I don't think you learn effectively if you just try to finish the assignment as quickly as possible. Anyways, moving on now to slide number 5. So if another thing that I noticed from week 8 assignments is students were skipping sections of the assignment. So you can do that, but again, you will lose points. For example, I had some students that only completed the updated questions. They did not do the textbook work. So I just want to be very clear. There are 3 sections to each of our classes. One of them is dealing with what's in the textbook itself. The second point is for you to do the Bunnicula chapter reading and answer questions. And the third one is to watch the TV episode and answer questions. So each of these is, I worked it so it was an hour of class, which means that if you don't do one of the assignments, you're missing basically 33% of your coursework, of your classwork. So that also means you will lose 33% of your points for your homework assignment. So please, please, please be careful. The next thing, so what I did here in the slide is I tried to explain it. So for example, for the week 8 assignment, the first part of your assignment was to do the present a country. So that was about 33% of your mark. Bunnicula was again 33% of your mark, and Kim's Convenience again. So if you skipped any one of those 3, you would lose those points, just to be clear. Moving on, I'm going to move on now to slide number 6. So for slide number 6, what I wanted to discuss was, once again, I'm still having students send me pictures. I assume it's because it's easy for you, and I'm not, I would like everything to be easier. I'm not going to deny that, but I can't read this. So, I struggle to, I'm working with a number of different file formats, and students are submitting assignments that are half pictures and half typed, and, I just want typed, please. So no more pictures. If you give me a picture, I'm not going to look at it, because I had to, you know, switch things upside down and rotate them, and then, you know, trying to read the words that students wrote. You know, I'm trying to help you, give you some good feedback, but if I can't read your assignments, I'm not sure how I can help. So please, 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 no more pictures. Type your answers, and you don't need to write the questions, you can just write the answers. It's perfectly fine. The second thing I wanted to discuss was, even though I said it was fine, and it is fine, I just wanted to make the point that if you see I would like to, if you write I would like to, if you say I would like to, what that means is I haven't done it yet. So if you say I would like to travel to, for example, let's say Portugal, then it means you haven't been there yet. If you have been to Portugal before, then you wouldn't say I would like to travel to unless you add again. I would like to travel to Portugal again. You could say something like, I have not been there for 2 years, or something like that is possible, or since 2003, also possible. Well, obviously not 2003, sorry. Since 2018, let's say. So just to make the point, I would like to travel to somewhere means you haven't been there yet. Moving on. The third point I wanted to discuss was I wanted to make the word choice very clear. So actually I asked you for 3 websites. Some students didn't even give me their 3 websites, which would mean you lose points for that section. Remember that a website is not a YouTube video. A video and a website are different. But as long as you used an English website or an English video, then I said that was fine, because the purpose of you choosing those websites is for you to find a simple way to get more information and to make you hopefully less afraid or less reluctant to use Google as a browser. Once again, I want to point out that the week 8 updated questions, the answers I'm putting at the end of this PowerPoint. Moving on now to slide number 7. My final comment for your week 8 assignments is probably the most important one. And you'll find that I'm doing this in the PowerPoints because I feel that there are a number of students who are not watching the PowerPoints all the way through because they're not, I explain and ask for particular things in the PowerPoint, but I'm not getting that. So please, please, please pay attention to the PowerPoint. It's only an hour long. If you are tired, once again, pause the video, go get a glass of water, come back. Do something else as you're watching, perhaps. Work with somebody else if it's difficult. I have found some students who were cheating. So if you have cheated and I see it, you get 0 for that week's assignment. Both of you do. I can't judge who had the assignment to start with and who gave it to somebody, but either way, you're both wrong, so you both have received, or 3 of you have received a 0. Moving on now to slide number 8. I want to give you an overview of what we're going to do for this week's PowerPoint. So for your week 10 PowerPoint, we're going to talk about these 9 topics. The first thing we're going to discuss is we're going to do a review, because there are still some of what we have studied, some topics we have studied, which students seem to be, they're still unclear about those topics. So I want to discuss that. The second, third, and fourth topics actually go together. These are some simple explanations for how to use specific words which are often mixed up in Korean. So the first one is how to use the word the, because it's not in Korean, or it's not used as much as in Korean. The is really important in English. It's the most common word in English. So I want to show you a very simple point about how to use it and when not to use it. Number 3 is to talk about the words menu, dish, and drink and how to use them. Number 4 is the phrase one of many. So we're going to discuss that as well. Then we'll move on to some common mistakes that I noticed in your assignments, and it's up to you to see if you can find them. So please do try. You remember, this is your education, so actually if you don't bother to do the work, you're paying money for, I don't know what. You're supposed to be paying money for your education, so try your best, okay? I don't make the quizzes on the PowerPoint point related, because I think it's better for you and it's better for your learning if you try and then think about it afterwards. Anyways, then we're going to move into our textbook and talk about syllables, which is our textbook topic for this week. And then we'll move to Bunnicula, Chapter 7, Kim's Convenience, Season 1, Episode 9, which is titled Best Before. And the last topic for this week is the Week 8 updated questions. We're going to talk about the answers. So let's begin. I'm moving now to slide number 9, which is our review section. So the review section for this week, I wanted to talk about 3 points. So moving to slide number 10 is my first point. So the first point is names. Names in English are not complex, but many people are still not thinking about it and not learning how to use a name in English. So I just wanted to review and make sure everybody's very clear. When we write a name in English, we start with a title, if you want to. The title is an option. You don't have to use it, but you can use it if you want it to be more polite and more formal. The next thing we put in English is the given name, or we say the first name or the forename. The third thing would be the family name. So remember, in English, it's the opposite of Korean. That's all. There's nothing fancy about it. So I've given you some examples. These are also from your homework assignments. So we have Mr. Sumu Cho. Okay, so we can see the given name is in blue, the family name is in purple. Check, check, good. Mr. Robert Monroe. Yes, his given name is Robert. His family name is Monroe. If we wanted to, we can shorten it to Mr. Monroe. Or we can lengthen it to Mr. Robert Monroe. Both are correct. The next one we have Jun Gi-song. Did you figure out who it was? And our last one was one that I thought was interesting. So Ju Ji-hoon, and we've got a slight problem, because remember, in English, traditionally the first 2 names would be your given name. So that would mean his given name was Juji and his family name is Hun. So I'm sure you can see that that's not correct. The most important point about this is that I want you to see how English names are written and how we move from Korean to English regarding names. This is also something that's good for you to explain to young students so that they can see, oh, okay, it's not really very complex. We just move them around and use a different spelling method. Instead of Korean, we use English, that's all. Moving on to slide 11. Slide 11, I wanted to review the word title. So the word title, once again, has 2 different meanings in English. You could probably even push that a little further if you wish to. So the 2 meanings are, number 1, the title you put at the front of someone's name to show respect. It can also be something like if you want to call someone sir or madame, okay? So the first one is, for example, Mr., Ms., Mrs., Miss. So these all reflect that what we know about this person. So when I wrote this into the dictionary, I had to come. So I'm not sure if that's correct or not, but we're going to go with it. The second one was in reference to the name of a book or the name of a movie. So I've given you, I've got a picture here of a book with the title written on it, and World War Z, which is the title of a film. So again, I had some interesting choices of sentences. So I just wanted to point out, how we can correct this and make your English level up. So the first one I had was, my favorite movie is World War Z, which is a ding. And I wanted to point this out because remember that English is really, really simple for you to see names because we actually see the capital letters, the Demunja. So my favorite movie is, and then we need capital W world, capital W war, and big Z or big Z because it's the title. So once we can see that, we know, haha, it's a title. The next one was a title for one of the present a country, and we got I Love London. So actually London's a city as well, but anyways. So I Love London, if it is a title, we want to show that by using capital letters. So we need I Love London, capital L, capital L. The next one is, I had a number of students who said they were talking with their high school teachers and they said her title is, and they would give a subject. But you can say her subject is math or her subject was math, but title, remember, especially in this case, refers to the Mr., Ms., Mrs., or Miss. So if you knew your teacher was single and a female, you would say Miss Jung or Miss Kim, or you could use her full name, Miss Jung-ah Kim, something like that. Anyways, moving on to our third and final review point for this week, the vernacular characters. I noticed a lot of confusion about this, so I wanted to just point it out very simply. In the Monroe family, there are 4 people and 3 animals. So this is the Monroe family. So this has not changed. We're in chapter 7, or at that point for week 8, I think it's chapter 5. So I'm not quite sure why people are unclear about this. So I just wanted to, review and make sure everybody's clear. So the Monroe family humans, the people, the father is Mr. Robert Monroe, or Mr. Monroe. The mother, the mum, is Mrs. Anne Monroe, right? The Mrs. means she's married. The 2 children, they're both sons. So there's Toby and Peter, or Pete is his short form. So Pete's the older brother and Toby is the younger brother. Also, they have their 3 pets. So the 3 pets, if you remember, are Chester the cat, Harold the dog, and Harold is the person or the animal talking. He's the narrator of the story. And Bunnicula is the the vampire rabbit. So, Harold Monroe would be the dog. It would not be the father. So please be careful. Mr. Harold Monroe is an unusual choice. Anyways, moving on. I have one more point, sorry. So for slide number 13, this is, I promise, the final point for this particular part of the review, is to please use the presentation skills pattern. I'm noticing that, again, I feel like a lot of students are just whipping through this, but remember, take your time. This is part of your education. They're only giving me 3 sentences, but remember the presentation skills pattern has 5 sentences minimum. If you want, you can do 10. So if you only give me 3 sentences, that means you're missing 40% of your points. So we need an introduction to your topic. We need 3 detailed sentences, detail 1, detail 2, detail 3, and a conclusion. So remember that you need all 5 sentences, please, please, please. Moving on to slide number 14, we're going to talk now about 3 simple ways to improve. And the first is how to use the word the. So I'm noticing that a number of students are using the. Either they're not using the entirely when they should be, or they're using the when they shouldn't be. So what I wanted to do is really quickly, I wanted to discuss really simple ways to use the or not. So the with names, essentially know the with names. Okay, so what I've done is if you click again, you'll have big ding, 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 ding. So the first picture I chose was breakfast, lunch maybe, dinner maybe, I'm not sure, but my point is meals. So the first point I wanted to make was about names. So Murung-san, or you know, this is my friend Jisoo Kim. We don't use the with names. If there's only one of that thing, there's no need, right? The is something when we define one specific of a bunch of things. Also, we don't use the with common items, common things like meals or sports, because you know they're just that thing. Volleyball, is there another kind of volleyball? No. So Murung-san would be correct, or Murung Mountain would be correct, but saying the Murung-san or the Murung Mountain, unusual. You know, I'm not going to say 100% you can't use it, but your sentence then would be important. The second thing is if it has its own name, okay? So Jisoo Kim, we don't need the, because that's her name or his name. Breakfast, we don't need the. It's breakfast. You know, we have breakfast every day, so there's no need to specify. Again, volleyball, no need to specify, we don't need the. And country names, we don't need the, because they're specific country names. Moving on now to slide number 16, this is when to use the with names. So we do use the with names if we're talking about, you know, for example, a lot of different oceans, and we want to talk about one specific ocean, then we would say, which one? We say, the Pacific Ocean. Good. If you want to talk about towers, there are many towers in the world, and we want to ask which tower, then you would say the Eiffel Tower, or the 3-6 Tower. The same if you want to specify, for example, you noticed the cinema had closed, and you say, oh, which cinema? And you say, oh, the Lotte Cinema. And you go, oh, the Lotte Cinema? Which one? Oh, the Lotte Cinema downtown. So you specify which one. So in this case, we do need the. Another example, there are a number of cities in the world. Which city are you referring to? We would say the Forbidden City in Beijing. So in this case, yes, you do use the. Moving on now to our number 3 topic, which is menu, dish, and drink. So we have all of these interesting words, and I've noticed lots of students use these a little bit differently, a little bit unusually, so I wanted to take a look at them. Oh my, here we go. Slide 18. So essentially, I just wanted to talk about each one of these separately first. So I've chosen pictures to match what I'm talking about in case some students are feeling a little bit overwhelmed by so much English language. But anyways, so a menu or menu pan is the actual big document that often we see on restaurant walls, or we get the actual book. So a menu is a list of dishes, right? A number of dishes that you can order at a restaurant. So I've given you an example, kimbap nara, and we have a variety of kimbap. So this is a kimbap menu. The second point is a dish. So a dish is one plate of food, okay? Or we have dishes if we talk about a variety of plates of food. The third thing is to talk about drinks. So a drink is the noun that we use for any liquid that we drink. So this is a drink. It's all, you know, coffees, any type of drink. Also, we can use drink to refer to alcohol. So what I'd like you to do is to try. So I'm moving on now to slide number 19. So in slide number 19, you do not need to submit this as part of your week 10 assignment. This is purely practice for you. So Kimbap Heaven has lots of what on their what. Let me take a look at the sign. And what are these things? So we've got lots of different choices. The second one is my favorite. My favorite plate of food is spaghetti. The third, my friend and I like to choose one each. So my friend, she chooses one, I choose one of these, and then we share them. So what is that? One plate and one plate. My mom really likes the, what kind of menu do they have at Gongcha? Okay, and then moving on to our fifth and final one. The best what is soju? So soju is in what family? And remember, it's a bottle, not a plate. So it's something that we can pour, and it's something that we can, hint. It's best served cold with barbecued pork. So what I'd like you to do is try and see if you can figure them out. If you need more time, pause your video now. I'm going to continue on to slide number 20. So, did you get the answers? We have menu, dish, drink, they're all nouns. So, the answers are Kimbap Heaven has lots of dishes on their menu. What have we got? We've got heavenly kimbap, and vegetable kimbap, tuna kimbap, kimchi kimbap, cheese kimbap, beef kimbap. You know, there's a whole variety of dishes on this menu. So the menu is all of the dishes that that restaurant serves. The second thing is my favorite dish is spaghetti. So one plate of food, what would you like? My favorite dish is bulgogi. My favorite dish is momo, I'm not sure. My friend and I like to choose one dish each, if possible, and then share them. Or you could say, my friend and I like to choose one drink each. So maybe my friend likes to drink blue lemonade, and I like Earl Grey tea, something like that. And then we share them and have a drink each, although of course nowadays you probably shouldn't be doing that. The fourth one is my mom. My mom really likes, and what is the menu that is available in Gongcha? It's a drinks menu or a drink menu. You have lots of choices of different types of drinks. And our final one is the best drink. The best drink is soju, perhaps. You know, I'm not sure. I just wanted to show that the usage with alcohol. So the best drink is beer. The best drink is, and you would choose an alcohol of whatever you like. The best drink is makgeolli. And it's best served cold with, what do you like with makgeolli? Pajan. Onion pancake. Doesn't sound as nice. I think pajan sounds better. Moving on now. So I'm moving on to slide number 21. So slide number 21 is our final topic for to help with your expressions, how to say what you want to say. And this one, there were some students had a hard time with this, so it's no problem at all. That's what we're doing together, is we're trying to help improve your English. So in this case, we have one of many things, and this is my point. So many students put one of, and then they would only give one thing. But one of one, you don't need to say one of many. You don't need to say one of one. There's no point. So when you say one of, it has to talk about many things. So for example, Disneyland is one of my favorite places. Okay, so we need the S there. So out of all of the different places in the world, I like Disneyland as one of the top places. South Korea, okay, so now what's our family? What's the group of items we're talking about? Countries. So South Korea is one of the best countries in the world. True. Next one. So what I'd like you to do now is try. Again, this is not for you to submit as part of your week 10 assignment. This is purely practice. So what are strawberries? What's the family group of strawberries? Strawberries, bananas, kiwis, chane. What are all of these things? Let's try. Strawberries are one of my favorite moles. An ice Americano is one of the best on the menu. Italy, I love this picture, it's so pretty. Italy is one of the most beautiful what's in the world. So remember to add the S's and make sure your spelling matches what you're trying to say. These days, yellow is one of the most popular what's. So yellow, blue, white, orange, green. In English, we don't need to say that word when we talk about the actual specific ones. So if you haven't gotten the answers yet, pause the video, see if you can figure out what the answers are, and remember to add the S. But I'm going to continue on now to slide number 24, which has our answers. So did you get them right? I'm hoping you did. So our answers for the try were strawberries are one of my favorite fruit, you can say, because fruit is one of those nouns that sometimes we can use it as a count noun or not. One of my favorite fruits. And an ice Americano is one of the best. And then there were some choices you could have had here. So you could have said it's one of the best drinks, it's one of the best coffees, or one of the best choices on the menu. So maybe if you go to Gongcha or something like that. The third picture, Italy. Italy is one of the most beautiful what? What are Italy, South Korea, China, Japan? What are all of these things? They are countries. So Italy is one of the most beautiful countries, watch your spelling, in the world. And our final one is these days yellow is one of the most popular colors. And again, this is a difference between Korean and English. In Korean, we always add sek, but in English, we don't use color. You just say yellow, blue. We don't say yellow color, blue color. Moving on to slide number 25 now, common mistakes. So what I'd like you to do, what I always do with this section is I would like you to self-correct. I want you to try to find what is wrong with these sentences and fix them. So let's take a look at slide number 26 and see if you can figure out what is wrong with these sentences. How can we fix them? Let's read the sentences out loud together. Go. 1. My favorite actor is Tony Stark. 2. And this is the title, Neighboring Country Japan. 3. I really want to trip to China. 4. Portugal is one of my favorite countries. 5. The England is located in Western Europe and has really long history. Number 6. Iceland have a lot of nature, the volcano, the white snow, the aurora, and so on. Number 7, first of all, the building is gorgeous. And our final one for this slide, number 8, someday I want to visit New York because New York has fantastic Disneyland. Alright, so what I'd like you to do is pause the video now. I'll give you a little bit of time, but I would like to just continue with the video. So pause the video, see if you can see some ways to fix these, see if you can spot what's wrong. And so what I'll do now is I'll give you 15 seconds for you to look through them. And if you do need more time, please pause the video. Go. Okay, I'm going to move on now to slides 27 for the answers. So once again, if you haven't taken the time, it would be very, very smart for you to take the time to do this. Moving on to slide 27, did you find these corrections? So number 1, I thought this was very cute. I really liked this one. So your favorite actor is a real person. So it would be, the actor would be Robert Downey Jr., which many of you chose, which I was quite surprised by, to be honest. He is a fantastic actor. If you wanted to choose Tony Stark, who also is a wonderful character, then we would need to change it to my favorite character is Tony Stark. But I was actually looking for actors because, you know, A, I'm interested to find out who you guys like these days, but also to hopefully get you thinking about Korean names in English style to see when we're writing them how we're communicating basically. Number 2, because it was a title, did you catch that they should all have capital letters? So we should have neighboring and then capital C country, Japan. Hopefully you got it. If not, don't worry. You know, the whole purpose is for us to improve, improve, improve. Number 3, this is really common because I think when we translate, trip in English is a noun. So it is a trip or trips. So usually when we talk about trip, we talk about take a trip or go on a trip. So we need to add a verb here and we need to add the count noun article. So I really want to take a trip to China. And we of course need some periods, a period there because it is a sentence ending. I noticed as well many students were dropping their periods. So, you know, remember that for your future jobs, you're going to be measured on your English. So please try your best. Anyways, number 4, Portugal. Did you catch it? It's one of many countries. So Portugal is one of my favorite countries. Watch your spelling as well. Remember that the Y changes to IES. Number 5, England is located in Western Europe and has a really long history. So don't forget about our count nouns because this is one of what I'm hoping, one of the things we can improve, that if you do start using your count nouns, you know, I can't tell you enough how quickly you will improve your English ability. I mean, just in that one simple way. Anyways, number 6, Iceland. So here we've got our subject-verb match, basically. So Iceland, then we need to change to has. So one country has a lot of nature. And then we're going to talk about what types of nature. So first of all, volcanoes, we don't need the in front of them because they're general objects, and we would talk about a number of them. So volcanoes, white snow, again, is a general object. We don't need the, but the aurora we would use because it is a specific light show, I guess. The aurora is beautiful. And so on. Number 7, first of all, the building is what we're looking for, because when you go to a new city or when you're going to any city, of course, when we look around, we see many buildings. So we want to look at many buildings, and those buildings are gorgeous. All of them are. So last one, someday I want to visit New York. Remember, because in English does not start the sentence, it's used as a connector. So no period, right? The jum, we get rid of the jum, and small b. So someday I want to visit New York because New York has, and Disneyland, there's one, so we need to count it. Fantastic. Disneyland is one word now. Which I thought was kind of interesting as well because there's no Disneyland in New York. So I'm kind of curious what that was referring to. But anyways, the second part of our improvements for this week is I have a simple paragraph that was given to me, and I like the paragraph, but definitely we can improve this very easily. So how would you improve the paragraph on slide 28? Let's read it together. So England with soccer. And this is really good because it's in the middle of the page, which is what we should do for a title. So let's read it together. Sentence 1, I want to go England. Okay, so always when we talk about we want to go in a direction of somewhere, I want to go to Momo. I want to go to the store, I want to go to England, I want to go to wherever. Because I love soccer very much. So I will go Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Also, I will visit London Tower and London Bridge. And our final sentence, because they were so cool in the picture. So I'll give you another 15 seconds. See if you can figure out, try 5 ways to make this paragraph better. Okay? Go. Alright, so I'm hoping that you managed to find 5. If not, that's okay, it's no problem. If you need more time, please pause the video, take the time. You know, we're only in now, we've only been together for 45 minutes. You got 15 minutes left. You can do it, fighting. Moving on to slide 29. Did you find perhaps some of these ways to fix this paragraph and make it a little bit better? So first of all, the title. So remember our titles, all of the major words should have capital letters. Prepositions, which are position words like in, on, under, next to, those kinds of words. If they're short ones and they're in the middle, they're not the first word, they're not the first word, they're not the last word, they do not need to be capitalized. But if you're not sure, capitalize every single word in the title. So we need England with soccer, we need a capital S. So when we start the paragraph, usually we want to start with a small space. I want to go, and we need to. Which direction? I want to go to England. And then we move from, so the second sentence began with, because I love soccer very much. But we know in English we can't start with because, unless we have a reason, okay? So you could say, I want to go to England because I love soccer very much, but then that means the topic of your paragraph will all be soccer. So in this case, the student didn't choose to talk about, you know, all of the subjects or all of the details about soccer. So I separated it and said, I want to go to England, I love soccer very much, and then I put the next two together. So I will go to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Excellent capitalization. Now, also I hope you notice that instead of having sentence 1, sentence 2, what we've done is we've shifted them so they're on the same line. This is much more professional, in Korean and English the same. So next, we also added also, comma, because that shows we're starting on to a detail 2. So detail 1 is soccer and Hotspur Stadium, Tottenham. And detail 2 is London Tower and Tower Bridge. Now this I was interested in because now you have 2 details that are part of one sentence. So actually you could separate them into 3 different subjects. So you could have soccer, London Tower, and Tower Bridge. Those could be your 3 details. But in this case, you know, I wasn't quite sure how to handle it. So what I went for was I put it together. Because we can't start with the because. So also I will visit London Tower and Tower Bridge because they were so cool in the picture. I think is what you would want to say. But anyways, so the 3 corrections that I did, very simple corrections, but right away this has improved this paragraph dramatically. Number 1, we capitalized the title. So you can do this by yourself. You do not need me to do that. Because, number 2, is a connector. We don't start with because in English. So as soon as we get rid of that again, level up. And third, overall, this is a lovely paragraph. And it's interesting. You know, we have good details, but it's too short. So right away, if you've got this mark out of 10, 2 of the sentences are missing, there's only, 60% of the points you can have. So I tried another one. So if you move to slide 30, then I updated another one. How about England with soccer? So we still have the titles, we have a space to start. I want to go to England because I love soccer very much. To start, I will go to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's got to be 2. We have to add the 2 in there. So remember, anytime you want to go somewhere, you have to add 2 to show what direction, where are you going to go to. I will go to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Also, so this is our detail 2, I will visit London Tower, and then I stopped it there because it's enough. You don't have to have long, complex sentences to explain your feeling about a country or a place or somebody. You know, short sentences, as long as they are good sentences, are wonderful. And last, so then I added another transition word to show I'm talking about the third detail. I will visit Tower Bridge. That's my third detail. England looks so cool in pictures. And as you can see from, I chose a few of these pictures to match the topics that this student chose. So if you develop it just a little bit, you can create a very solid, really good paragraph. Moving on now to slide 31. This was my last one. This was really, really cute. I really like this. I thought this was very funny. But this is to show you how important spelling is. Well, let's just ask, can you see the mistake? So read the sentence. Let's read it together. I want to eat Putin. Can you see what the mistake is? I'll give you 10 seconds to think about it. See if you can figure it out. The pictures are a hint. Okay, so if you take a look at the top picture, this is Putin, the Russian president. So remember that when you use a Demonja, it means a name. So if you use the Demonja, it means that it's a name and it's a person. So actually, what this student was referring to was poutine, which is the second picture, which is French fries with gravy and cheese curds. So poutine is the Canadian French fries dish. Sorry. Please be careful with your spelling, because when I first read this, what? So I had to reread it a few times, and yes, very cute. I did think it was very cute, but do be careful with your spelling, because of course this is one way for us to communicate using language, and we should be careful. But that was really, really sweet, very lovely. Moving on now to slide 32. Slide 32 is looking into our textbook on pages 63 to 65. So syllables are what we're going to focus on for this week. I'm moving to slide 33. So if we look at slide 33, what I've done here is I've shown you what syllables are. So I wrote syllables. Okay. So what are syllables? Syllables are, in Korean we say umjol. So usually for my elementary school students, I get them to clap or stomp or do something with their bodies, because, especially for the young students, they like to use their bodies. They like physical response. So when we're saying words together, I would get them to say, okay, table, how many syllables? And hopefully the students will figure out, okay, I clapped twice, table, so that means it has 2 syllables. Now, because you are higher level and because you are training to be teachers, we also need to include some other English language. 2 other words that are important when we're talking about syllables, so you should remember these words, these vocabulary words. The first one, and I've broken them into syllables to help you with pronunciation. The first one is consonant. So consonant has 3 syllables. So in Korean we would say jam. And if you look at the list on the right hand side, we can see how we put consonants with vowels. Okay, so vowel, what's a vowel? Mon. In English we represent consonant as C and vowel as V. So what I wanted to do first is to introduce the idea of how we break words into syllables in English versus in Korean. So moving on to slide 34, the question is, how do we make a syllable? So the reason why I want you to think about this is because in Korean, in all languages, we have specific ways that we create words, we make words. So in Korean, for example, dak. So when we write the words, we can see that there's a consonant, and then a vowel, and then 2 more consonants. So essentially what we're doing is we're looking at the digut, which is a consonant, then the a, which is a vowel, and then our lior, hyok, which are both consonants as well. So this is how I'm able to write consonant, vowel, consonant, consonant. Can you see that? Okay, so next we've got tim, and I always say that wrong, but anyway. So we've got, again, the sanjiet, which is our consonant and consonant, right? So it's 2 together, then a vowel, and then another consonant. And my point about this is that if you can see just from these examples, the most consonants we can put together in Korean are 2. So we can put them at the beginning, like a sanjiet or sanjiet, something like that, or at the end, like lior hyuk or lior byuk, something like that. But in English is weird when we think about it from the Korean perspective, because we can add crazy amounts of consonants, and it doesn't change the syllables necessarily. The point is, how do we find the syllables? How do we break them? So in English, for example, we can write chicks, which is 1 syllable, right? But we have C, which is a consonant, H, which is a consonant, I, vowel, and then we get C, K, S. So right away we've got 2 consonants, a vowel, and then 3 consonants. What about springs? Again, 1 syllable in English. But when we look at it from Korean syllables, we've got S, P, R, consonant, 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 then our I, which is a vowel, and then N, G, S, consonant, consonant, consonant. So from a Korean syllable perspective, this is really weird. What about Pennsylvania? So in Pennsylvania, the Y actually acts like an I. The sound is an I. So we have consonant, P, vowel, E, consonant, 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 and then we have a vowel sound, consonant, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, vowel. So you can see that's just 1 word. I mean, this is, wild how many consonants we can stick into an English word. So moving on to slide 35, why are we talking about this? We're talking about this because of pronunciation, or balum. So Korean and English pronunciation is different, and what I want you to think about is why. So in Korean, usually we have 2 consonants maximum to make with a vowel, but in English is weird because we can use a lot more consonants together as 1 sound. So these are called clusters usually. So who cares? So what? I can see already probably students going, but the reason why this is interesting is because when you're a native Korean speaker and you pronounce an English word, you want to follow Korean style syllable structure. So for example, if we see the word springs in English, which is 1 syllable, when we use the Korean syllable construction, where we can only have two consonant sounds together, then we get s, pu, ring, s, and we end up with 4 syllables. So the reason why we're looking at this is because we can make our English pronunciation better very, very easily, number one. And number two, when you're teaching your future students, you can help them very, very easily. So moving on to slide 36, how? How can we make it better? You know, English is difficult. The simple, easy way, fewer syllables. When you're speaking in English, just use fewer syllables. Try and smush the words together. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice this anyways. So the first thing we need to do is look at the vowels. So do you remember what vowels are? What's vowels in Korean? Good. I'm hoping you said mom. And when we look at a word, then we count how many vowels there are. We go 1, that means there's 1 syllable. If we see 1, 2, then we get 2 syllables, and so forth. But of course, we have to be careful because sometimes there are 2 vowels, but actually it's not looking at the vowels, it's the sound, the vowel sounds that are important. So let's take a look, don't stress. So slide 37, here's an example. So we find the vowels in the word fantastic. So mom, we're looking for, you know, A, E, I, O, U, but we're looking for the sounds, don't forget. So we say I. Okay, so we have 3 vowel sounds. So then we take a look and we say, okay, 3 vowel sounds. So we have 3 syllables. Fantastic. And this is essentially how you can figure out how many syllables are in a word. So moving on to 38 through 42, our slides 38 through 42. Try. So let's try it and look together. So I'm on slide 38. How many syllables are in the word here? Number 1. And I'm going to give you 2 hints. Number 1, the QU makes a qu sound, which is not a vowel sound. So the U is not a vowel. It's not a vowel sound. And the E at the end is silent because the E gives power to the I and makes it what's called a long I. So it would be I. So how many vowel sounds actually are there in that word? I'm hoping you said 1. So there is 1 vowel sound. If you click, you'll see it, which is the I. So we get how many syllables? And I'm hoping you saw. If you have 1 vowel sound, it is 1 syllable. So this word is quite. Just 1 syllable. Next one. Moving on. How many syllables in this word? For number 2. And again, I'm going to give you another hint just to remind you. The QU makes a qua sound. So that U is not a vowel sound. Okay, I'm going to click, and hopefully you saw we have 2 vowel sounds. I, eh. So how many syllables are in this word? 2. Excellent. So we get, and if you click again, we get quiet. Okay, moving on. So this is because quite and quiet, many students pronounce them the same. But actually, if we analyze the words, we can figure out, quite has 1 syllable, and quiet has 2 syllables. So even just from the sound, and we can figure out which word it is that you're using. So this is a really, really effective tool for, especially for young learners. Try again. Here we go. Next slide, number 3. How many syllables are in the 3rd word there? And I've given you another hint here. So in English, when we have CE together, we get a S sound. So the E actually is not a vowel sound in that case. But when we add it together, we do get a vowel sound there. So can you figure out how many vowel sounds there are? Click. We get 3 vowel sounds. So we get the E, U, and A. So how many syllables? Hopefully you said 3. Excellent. So we end up with cellular. Okay, so we're getting our 3 separate syllables, 3 separate vowel sounds. Moving on to our 4th word. So how many syllables are in this word? Now, I've given you another hint here. So the S-I-O-N in this word, and usually, makes the sound jeune. So think about it. How many vowels are there if the S-I-O-N actually only has 1 vowel sound? Okay, click. And hopefully you got 4 vowel sounds. So we got I, and from un. So how many syllables are in this word? Hopefully you said 4. So I'm clicking again, and we get television. So we have 4 syllables. Last one, let's try. Now be careful with this because this one's a little bit tricky because the same as in any language, words change. So be careful. Take a look at this word, number 5, and how many syllables are in this word. Now, my hint for this is that the modern pronunciation of this word is a little bit shorter than the original. So, in the modern pronunciation of this word, we drop 1 syllable. Can you figure out which one? All right, let's click. So we've got 3 vowel sounds, a, but actually the middle one we drop. So can you figure out how to pronounce that word? 2. There are 2 syllables in this word, which means we get camera. Camera is the old style pronunciation. It's not wrong, it's just nowadays people just shorten, so it's camera. Do you have a camera, or can I borrow your camera? Something along those lines. Does your phone have a good camera? You wouldn't add the eh. All right. So I'm going to move on now to the following slide. So slide 43 essentially is for your week 10 assignment. So for your week 10 assignment, what I would like you to do is find 3 words for each of these categories. This is from page 65 in your textbook, and I would like to remind you that if you copy, if I find you have copied, you will get 0. So please don't copy, just use your brain. You are all very intelligent people, you can do this. And copying also includes the back of the book for answers. So you can't use the back of the book answers, or you will get 0. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to find 1-syllable words. I want you to find 3, please. 2-syllable words, please find 3. 3-syllable words, we're getting a little bit more complex. I would also like you to find 3 of them. And 4-syllable words, I would also like you to find 3 of them. So I've given you some examples, and I can see some students maybe are, oh, this is going to be so hard. But the simplest hint I can give you is to look around you and take a look at your different items and see, there are many different items that you could choose to use, and you can also use plural forms, right? So, how many syllables in this word? Okay, and there are many, many choices, but the simplest thing you can do is look around you and choose, 12 items that are near you, and see if you can fit them into these categories. Also, on page 65, there's another exercise, which is here, down at the bottom, but you don't need to do this exercise, okay? So this is the one exercise that I'm asking you to do. So if you have watched this PowerPoint all the way through, good job, because you just saved yourself some homework time. Moving on to slides 44 and 45, for Bunnicula Chapter 7, please, please, please don't do the book questions, do the updated questions. And Kim's Convenience, same. Don't do the book questions, do the updated questions. Just to remind you, again, Kim's Convenience, you're watching Season 1, Episode 9, which is titled Best Before. Finally, I'm getting a little bit pressed for time here, so I'm sorry it's a little bit long, but the final topic for this week is the updated questions answers for week 8. So what I wanted to do is I'm just going to read through these with you and make sure everyone is clear about the types of answers. These are possible answers because, of course, everyone has a slightly different idea, but generally speaking, this is what I was looking for. So I'm on page 47, talking about Bunnicula Chapter 5. So if we take a look at number 1, Mr. Monroe's full name is Robert Monroe. Number 2, he had a white face because he has shaving cream on his face. Number 3, Chester acted so strangely, or Chester acts so strangely because he wants the family to understand that Bunnicula is a vampire. That's what he was trying to do to them, because he was trying to act like a vampire. Number 4, Chester bit Harold on the neck. Number 5, he was just trying to make the family understand that Bunnicula was a vampire. Number 6, Mrs. Monroe gets Chester a kitty sweater because she thinks he is cold. Moving on to slide 48, continuing on with Bunnicula Chapter 5. So Chapter 5 answers, some people were a little bit confused, so I added some pictures here to help. So Chester hid under the table because he was not amused. Not amused means he was not pleased, he was unhappy. So, do you like the picture? Number 2, my brother loves to eat squash, so Hoback and, Hoback generally, they're all different types of squash. So squash is the family name. Number 3, and here's our picture of the man panicking. When Harold thought there was no dog food because he's a dog, he began to panic. He was worried that there was not any food. And number 4, expensive hanbok often have beautiful handiwork. So you can see this woman, this is actually from Croatia, but they make these beautiful embroidery patterns and stuff on hanbok. Number 49, slide number 49, Bunnicula Chapter 5, true or false. There were 6 types of vegetables on the table is true. All you had to do was count the vegetables. It wasn't hard. Number 2, Pete took Dad's towel. False. Number 3, Chester thinks the human beings are slow thinkers, a little bit silly. True, he does. And number 4, Chester's bite did not hurt Harold. False. It did hurt Harold. Bunnicula Chapter 5, multiple choice. I'm on slide 50 now. We're 2 more to go. You're almost done. Very well done. Multiple choice. Number 1, Mrs. Monroe thought the white vegetables were curious. They were, wow, why? That's interesting. Number 2, Toby thinks the vegetables are white because they are not organic. Number 3, Chester's expression sent chills down Harold's spine. And number 4, Chester is going to take matters with an S. All of what's going on, all of the issues, into his own hands. Moving on to slide 51, Kim's Convenience, Season 1, Episode 7, Hapkido. So I've given you pictures from the episode here. Number 1 is never. Appa says, a gay Asian man is never fat. Number 2, Jung lives in Toronto, and you should have used a capital T because it's a city name. Number 3, Grace lives in Vancouver. Number 4, Grace is a lawyer. Please watch your spelling as well. She is not a layer. A layer has a different meaning. Number 5, Oma and Mrs. Lee are at the table when they walk into the restaurant. Number 6, Appa said he couldn't teach Janet Hapkido because she was too fat and she couldn't bend her arms. Actually, I think maybe he just didn't want to teach her. I'm not sure. Number 7, Gerald. Please watch your spelling. Gerald and Janet go to Hapkido class because they're studying as students. When Appa goes, he does go to the class as well, but he's not going as a student, but I would have accepted Appa as well. Number 8, Kimchi's mom owns the hair salon. Number 9, martial arts. I wasn't quite sure. I got some very interesting answers here. But martial arts are combative arts. They're basically using your hands as weapons. And if you ever watch MMA, MMA stands for Mixed Martial Arts. And finally, number 10. Congratulations, you've made it. Appa says, goodbye, Janet. So I'm moving on to slide 52. That's it. You're done. Very good job. Excellent. Okay, I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.